it seems like whatever that fucking killer instinct isn't out there in a lot of players anymore. And I don't know why that is. A lot of people say it's the millennial attitude or Gen Z attitude or whatever the fuck, or it's players training together in the off season and being friends instead of enemies on the field. I wonder what you as a professional athlete that spent your entire career in the trenches, like the literal trenches, how do you feel about the way players communicate with each other these days? Who do you think are the best closers in professional sports right now? Like, who are the guys that transcend whatever this bullshit is going on right now and still come out and give 100% every single day? Because I feel like we talk about this on the show a lot. If Mahomes came out and had that whole team firing on all cylinders for 16 games a season, he would probably throw 60 touchdowns and 6,000 yards, to be honest. But I don't think that'll ever happen. And maybe it can't. Maybe the 73-win Warriors is like a warning. Like, don't worry too much about the regular season if you want to win in the post. Maybe it is, but I want to know your thoughts on that.
I think Brady, and when he was the closest to it, right? Because it's so hard to win in pro sports. You have to commit so much, and you have to be so disciplined, and you have to work so hard. And once you get there, if you want to repeat, you basically have to reject all of the glory and all of the greatness that comes with finally winning that championship. You have to willing to humble yourself and discipline yourself and go through all that misery and that work again.
Right.
And it's really hard to do in pro sports because you're making a lot of money and you're finally reaching the pinnacle of something you've worked your entire life to get there. And you want to enjoy it a little bit, right? Like everybody wants to win that Super Bowl or win that Stanley Cup or whatever, and then go enjoy it for a little while. And to be consistently great like New England was with Brady, you have to totally reject all that. I remember hearing a story when Brady was with the Patriots. It was like a week after he won the Super Bowl. He was sitting down and having dinner with Michael Strahan, and Michael ordered a beer and was going to order him a beer. And Brady said, "No, thanks, I'm in training." And Strahan's like, "Dude, you just won the Super Bowl a week ago. You can have a beer. Like, you don't even have mini camp for 2 more months." And he was like, "No, I'm in training." And that's the mentality you have to have. Literally 24/7. You have to get your sleep. You have to eat right. You have to train right every single day of the year. And when you become super rich and super famous and you're successful and you win a championship, you may not want to do that every single day of the year. You want to maybe just enjoy it for a little bit. And that's why it's so hard in pro sports to keep repeating and be great every single year.
Right. So do you think, like, we know who those people are that were able to do it for a long time? Brady was one of them. Tiger Woods was one of them. Obviously, Jordan and Kobe were two of those examples that throughout their entire career, 100% was left on the floor probably every single time they went into any kind of athletic competition. I don't know if there's anybody out there like that now. We've taken this
Mahomes doesn't seem to have that killer instinct where it's just like, hey, man, I want to drop 60 and murder your family.
Right.
Like that last dance doc was a great reminder for athletes today what it really takes to have a killer instinct.
Yeah.
And
like Jordan was creating problems that didn't exist just so he could fight those problems to keep himself motivated. That seems pathological to some people, but that is exactly what it takes to win 6 consecutive titles, right, without ever losing one. And not in a row, obviously. He was out for 2 years. But to win every single time you got to the finals, to be the MVP every time you got to the finals, to be perfect in the playoffs, I guess, after you got your team together as you wanted it, it takes a level of commitment that I just don't – maybe – I feel like there's 3 or 4 in every generation, though, right? Like in the 90s, we saw Bird and Magic. Those guys fucking they never took a day off, ever. Jordan never took a day off going into the 90s and obviously later in his career. But Kobe never took a day off. He was a fierce competitor. I feel like Tim Duncan was a guy like that, but he was so quiet. Nobody ever really gave him that respect. But in other sports, man, honestly. Maybe in some other sports you can't do it. Baseball, 650 or so plate appearances in a single year. To be 100% locked in for 650 plate appearances.
That's what all those guys are.
Yeah, seriously. We talked to Aubrey Huff is a good buddy of ours, and he was like, man, halfway through my career, I'm just like fucking chugging Adderall, just trying to stay alert for every single at bat up there, because I knew like there's a bunch of great players around me. I'm a really good player, but if I want to be great and be on a great team, I've got to fucking perform a little bit better. And that's what it is. You got to fucking be on all the time. Some of these people did it without stimulants or anything like that, though, like Kobe and Jordan. I am so impressed by those people. And usually, like I said, there's a couple in each generation. I don't know who they are right now. If I'm looking across all of sports right now, who are the closers? I don't know who the closers are anymore. And I feel like we've lost that. Like we've lost faces and heels even because of it. Because I need to be able to hate. If I'm a fucking a Kansas City Chiefs fan right now, I need to be able to hate the Cleveland Browns, and I don't. I appreciate them because they're putting stuff together, and it seems like even me as a fan, my attitude has changed about the game, and I'm less attached emotionally to my own team and more attached to just seeing the game itself. Who are the closers right now? Ross, who do you think in all of professional sports?
Mahomes could do it. LeBron, as much as I hate to say it, is up there. I just don't like his fucking game.
If he does it this year, then I'll give him the credit for being a closer.
Yeah.
Like in crunch time, by the way, his stats are great. I don't know. People like to talk a lot of shit about LeBron, and I'll get right there with him because the flopping and his attitude in general is bullshit. But in crunch time, he fucking shows up to play, and he never takes a day off. That motherfucker, say what you want about him, but he takes more hits than anybody in the NBA because he's so big, and the refs can't tell that he's getting hit that hard. And he plays hard on every single play. So say what you want about him. I guess he's probably the closest one, right? I can't think of anybody.